Okay, hello my beautiful darlings and welcome to Satisfactory Update 6. Yes. And I'm really gotta stop wearing my hair up when doing this, but what the hey. Otherwise it looks like I'm bald, even though I'm not. And I just lost my train of thought here. Nice intro. Good job. Oh, more coffee. Indeed. Well, as you guys might have noticed by now, and if not, what the... I'm quite addicted to this game. I'm not gonna lie, I am. Why? Because I can get away with doing some crazy ass stuff regarding building. And any game that allows me to do some funky shit, that's right up my alley. You know, I love being creative with my builds. Hence why I love Fallout 4 very much. That's not gonna change ever because yay, Fallout 4. So, I don't have one playthrough on this. I don't have two. I don't have three. I have four. Actually 5, but number 5 is dead. And I think I may or may not have mentioned that a couple of times already, since I was a bit bummed about some of the things regarding Update 6. But besides that initial sadness and a bit of fuck, I did something awesome and now I can't fucking show it. When that went away, that feeling, I was like, I really missed the desert. I missed the dunes. The nice dune desert. And don't get me wrong, I love being in the northern forest and plotting around, building there. And yes, this looks somewhat like the northern forest, doesn't it? Because it is. It is the northern forest. And since I didn't want to utilize all of my coal that is in the dunes, or strictly relying on that the oil that is close to the dunes would provide me with enough and rubber. And I wish I could turn some of that rubber into rubber ducks around here. That would be cutesy, but nope, no such thing. Which again brings me to here. A specific spot in the northern forest that is quite amazing, if I have to say that, because I kind of have to, because it is. It's the perfect spot to be able to make tuber duber fuel, aka turbo fuel. And I call it super duper fuel because it sounds more fun, and that way I remember what it is. Word association, right? But that means you need 3 different nodes. Not 1, not 2, but 3 different things to get you up and rolling. First is the obvious. You need oil, right? Right. You need oil. And then you need sulfur. And if we peek down here, you can see we got sulfur coming in on a line. And what is that tugging along next to it? Might that be coal? Yes, indeed. So you need an area where you can get sulfur relatively hazard-free, and where you can get coal relatively hazard-free. And if you're not using mods and you have a jetpack, which is gonna be very much necessary to get up there, and I know it sounds counterintuitive since I was just babbling on not having to rely on the oil close to the dunes for fuel, right? Oh, shut up. But yeah, so you can fly up here using the jetpack, doing a bit of hopping and skipping. Stick to the edge, because there are dangerous gases and there are some nice uranium little nodes. Not full on nodes where you can mine, but some sneaky nodes that you can't mine per se. You can pick them up, sure, but don't. Do not do that. But you hop and skip up here with your jetpack. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And then up here, right next to this funky looking arch with a, not arch, intersecting, which kind of looks like a, let's use the childish version, shall we? Kind of looks like an elephant. So, I got my miner here. It's a Mark II, because, again, I need all the coal I can get. So, I waited until I could get the Mark II before I even considered going up here. And it's running on my highest bell speed that I have at the moment. That's going to change when I get the Mark V. But that requires aluminium, and we're nowhere near that yet. Okay? So you get that, you bring it down over whatever, but you get your little mitts on it. Boop, 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 like Cyberg. And then you need to set up some assemblers. So if we open up our production tree and we look under manufacturers, we got the constructor, and next to it we got the assembler, right? So that's the one that is needed. And there is two ways to getting the compacted coal. Alternate recipe from hard drives, right? Or doing the sulfur tree in the man. So let's say we did the sulfur tree, right? There you can see. But since I have the alternate recipe, I have no need to unlock this, but I am gonna to fill up my tree here. And there is the normal recipe for tuber fuel. Right? The super duper stuff. That's the good shit. But for that, I also have an alternate recipe. So I'm in no hurry to get this, even though I have saved hard drive for it. And I have saved a hard drive for that. And I still have 2 hard drives over for the fix. Now, so that is our little basic setup for making compacted coal. It's not that difficult, and I will show you another example for where you might want to use it. But for now, let's go down to the nitty-gritty shit. So down here, there is a pure node, right? And I haven't even tucked into the pure node. That is still standing. But there's also two normal nodes here. And I gotta sneeze. Of course I gotta sneeze. I'm recording. And I gotta sneeze. Allergies, man. Allergies. Fucking sucks. But there is two normal nodes, as I was saying. And this one is not even overclocked. And there's still plenty of crude oil that we can tap from it, right? So I'm kind of overproducing. Whereas this one is overclocked once, only once, to get to 180. So we got two oil extractors, right? Don't mind those noisy babies in the background. I'll explain those in a minute. So we're extracting from two. We got from there. And then from here. And since to begin with, I only needed the first one. And the first one wasn't even overclocked. And I had 1, 2, 3, 4 connected. Hence why the connection here was somewhat centralized in between these machines here. And these machines are called refineries. So it gets in the crude oil. And this is an alternate recipe as well. So if we take a look-see at the recipes. Let me show. Thank you. This is the classic one where you get heavy oil residue. Which is great. But since I don't need the plastic here at all, was no point in me utilizing that. Right? And you might be thinking, why is there two that look sort of similar? Now that's a good question. See, now the top one, right? If we change it over, it produces way more polymer resin than the other one. And not so much heavy oil residue. And if I switch it back, thank you. This one produces more heavy oil residue than polymer resin. And which part do you think we need most? The purple goop. The polymer resin is just a byproduct that is nice to have. Okay? That's just a byproduct. This is what we're after. That right here. So that is what all of these refineries are producing, and there's plenty of room to expand it that away. I was just having fun with some design ideas here on the side. So don't mind that. That is might stay, that might not stay. I don't know yet. So that is what they're doing. So you get the polymer resin out, right? And most of it gets stored. Some of it gets sent along here. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, that's my smart splitter. So I'm utilizing the overflow from that box to go straight into another box that then gets synced right there. Whereas the main bed, since we're using the big box, the industrial size storage box, and we got two different sizes. To begin with, you get this tiny little cutie thing with one outlet, right? Whereas the other one has two, which makes it way more useful. And as you guys can see, it can't contain a lot of items in here. Whereas the big box has double the amount of slots to contain items. So, my main line from the big box goes out into two other refineries. That is just me because I needed fabric on hand. That can be turned into filters. And you need it for memory search as well, so I figured might as well just plop it in here. And the same with the polymer resin, you need that for memory search as well. Right. So we got the polymer resin going into here with some water, and whoop-de-whoop-de-doo, you got fabric. Synthetic fabric, but fabric nonetheless. And once again, to make sure that my system keeps running, the overflow from the two main boxes here gets sent into that box and then into the muncher or the awesome sink. Dear child, many names, right? So that is the first step. That is what is gonna provide you. And yes, I did mention I'm using an alternate recipe. Good. Just double checking. Then the purple goop, the heavy oil residue, comes out of the machines. And then, to make sure that I have a nice pressure and that it doesn't backflow back in down towards the first set of refineries, we got valves. These little funny things with the wheel on them. Nose. Even though I'm pretty sure most people know what a valve is. So, whee! More coffee. Okay. Here is where the compacted coal comes in, literally. And here, our refinery gets the heavy oil residue and the compacted coal. And I have overclocked them a tiny bit because I wanted to make sure I had enough super fuel. And later on, once I'm done adding more machines to the lineup, trust me, no more overclocking is needed. But these babies right here in the back are gonna stay overclocked to make sure that I have enough heavy oil residue. Yes, I could have added 2 more machines here. Absolutely. But that also essentially would mean extracting more oil, and for now that is not necessary, but it's expandable. That was another point. Make sure you have enough room to expand if need be. So yeah, they take in the heavy oil residue, then the compacted coal, And out comes the turbo fuel, the super duper stuff. And it comes out right here. I decided I wanted it to go up. Why? Because I'm a savage. So up here, I got plenty of fluid buffers. And they are all hooked together. All of them, right? And I got a couple of extra fuel generators up here that are not connected yet because I wanted to do that with you guys. So, as you guys can see, I have a whole entire network going from each end of where my fluid buffers are. And there's a very good reason for that. First of all, that helps you to keep the fluid, in this case is turbo fuel, distributed to each side, right? So, when I started up laying out this, I started with one line going down, and then I put a T-junction on it, and then I went to one side all the way, made sure I had a tiny bit of room so I could add another T-junction, because this way it's gonna keep fluid going around in a circle, which again helps with pressure somewhat, which is a good thing. Less pumps. And a decent amount of the pumps up here on this line is essentially to stop backflow as well, and also to keep a certain amount of pressure in the pipes. And each section has 8 fuel jennies in them. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 1. That's 2. And then half connected section 3. I thought I killed that thing already. Yeah. Will do. I'll send it on a spaceship. So, essentially, 3 sections with 8 in them, and we have 2 of those sections because they're mirrored, right? So just for funsies, bring up the calculator here. Where's the, oh great, we're gonna do it on the phone because, phew, it's late at night, because I had to wait until my body was, was gonna comply. So, 8 times 3, and you're probably all yelling at me in the comment section, is 24 on each side, right? And since we have 24 on each side, that's 48, right? Fuel jennies. So let's just for fancy see what that is gonna give us. 48. Put that down. Thank you. Times 150. Okay. 150. that is gonna give us, see that? 7,200 watts of power. So for a small footprint down here, generating enough output for 7,200 megawatts of power. Which reminds me, let's do some wiring here. Boop. And of course, if I take down a couple of trees, even though I really would hate having to do that, but if I need to, I can. Or there's always the other option, we can go up or even down if need be. I try to save the trees here down here too. But there's option for multiple forms of hello. Normal, nice, expansion, right? So there's options. Did I just provoke some bees? Yes, of course I did. Sorry, but you guys gotta go. Yes, you do. And this rack right here, I'm gonna save for later. But yeah, still plenty of option for expanding the power network here. So for this small footprint, and I haven't even used all of the oil, $7,200 power. Did it take a bit? Yes. Yes, it did. Did I have to figure out how I wanted to do my network? Absolutely, because I didn't want to copycat myself. Because on my main, I got Tuber Fuel up and going now too. And in my Rocky Desert, it's glorious. And in my Northern Forest, I want to show you the Tuber Fuel as well, because again, it's glorious. And it's all covered and it's beautiful. I sectioned it out differently, but the principle still is the same. Start with a row of 4, connect them to your fuel, and you're up and running and offing. And I'm not even using all of the fuel that I am producing here at all. So essentially, I can add more right here if I wanted to, or like I said, go up or down, or remove those beautiful trees and add more, or run it that way. So options. But yeah, there's my second power source now, and we're just gonna float right over all of the beautiful trees here. Say bye bye now to the trees. Did I mention I'm a map builder? Oh, I did? Okay, good. Because now we're heading over to my second experiment on this shenanigans here. Let's get somewhat lower to the ground, shall we? So over here, that is my plastic and rubber production. that is providing me enough plastic and rubber to produce so many things. I don't think I have to add any more rubber or plastic production at all. And again, like over by the fuel, I haven't utilized all of the oil. They're all connected to the same line here, but they are not overclocked or anything in that regard. So if I need to, they can be overclocked. I can add more machines, more refineries. And Bob's your uncle. Yeah, this part here I haven't quite decided on a design yet. All I have done so far is add in a wall. That's all I have decided so far. And that I wanted to use the standard fix-it walls for this. And of course downstairs here, that covered up a bit, that is my pancake floor. Everybody needs pancakes, even factories. And that is just piping. That is all that is down here. Pipes. And that is my sneaky way, because I had to check on the pump system to make sure they were doing what they're doing. But see, nice and expanded, plenty. So here is the plastic madness. And since it now has emptied out nicely, I can take those out just for a bit. No problem. And let it go. Here I'm using alternate recipes as well. And where are you? There's my refinery. So we're just gonna borrow a corner over here. So here we are making a tiny bit of normal plastic and some normal rubber. That was just to get everything up and going, because I needed plastic and rubber to get this insanity rolling. But then I used that tiny plate of plastic I was producing, and with some fuel, allowed me to get 60 rubber. So from 30 plastic, 60 rubber. And then the other way around, with 30 rubber and some fuel, I then got 60 plastic per minute. Did it take a tiny bit of fiddle-fuddling and some yelling? Yes, most definitely. And since I have smart splitters, I am not worried that there is both plastic and rubber on my line at all. And to get recycled, there's a small line going down here, going that way with plastic, and then I have a small line here with rubber, and the rest that gets sent that way, and then the finished products comes out here and joins the line. Hence why there's a mixture of rubber and plastic. Because on that side we got pure plastic, right? And down here on this side I got a tiny bit of normal rubber being produced. And then the heavy oil residue that comes out of those productions from the plastic and the rubber gets turned into fuel. And I only needed a couple. So they make fuel, and that in turn makes rubber and plastic for me. Even though I need to provide them with rubber and plastic and a tiny bit of fuel. And you guys probably think I made it a tiny bit more convoluted than need be. Yes, maybe. But I did try to keep it as simple as possible. Normal plastic line here. Normal rubber. And then we got the recycled bit, so those four is producing 120 of each for me. And the rest goes into bins and then sent that way. And since now my system has been cleaned up a tiny bit, I can start all over with filling up my boxes. Because prior, let's just say all of the boxes were full before I went over to the power side over there. Now my lines look a tiny bit more reasonable. And products are still flowing nicely. So I could decapitate my overflow system just for a bit, which is nice. Now, next bit. This is my computer factory, and I may or may not have went overboard just a tiny bit. But I didn't want to have to run too many conveyor belts unnecessarily. So instead I chose a spot close to my plastic production that also has copper and iron already. So these foundries made me some nice ingots. And the ingots of course are full. Even though they are getting used, but not fast enough. Even though I kept it to a minimum. I only have 2 foundries here for the iron and 2 for copper. And there is room for more, okay? So I'm not even utilizing all of it. So here is where my ingots are getting utilized. All of these are making screws for both, well, for a couple of machines upstairs. And over here with the copper. Since I had copper anyways coming into my facility, why not use it? So, again, I may or may not have gone overboard. And they are creating wire, which again gets turned into cable. And if I'm not mistaken, full, yes. And the machines right there, they are making circuit boards. And I even had to expand a tiny bit. Also because I wanted a box for myself. Fill up my inventory here. So yeah, they are making circuit boards, and upstairs they are taking the circuit boards and the screws and the wire. Yes, wire. Let's start from the end. So that one is making computers. Right now it's idle because I flushed out my system down here. Just a wee bit. And because I had a snafu with rubber somehow deciding to sneak along my plastic line and then put a big cog in my production up here. So that was no good. So right now things are gonna run slow for a tiny bit because I flushed out my lines. And that's okay, because right now the only thing that is reliant on getting the computers and the circuit boards are these manufacturers here. So we got computers being made, and one of them are also making high-speed connectors, right? So they are coming in here, and the box is almost full here too. And there. Want to make sure I had enough. And this is taking high-speed connectors and computers and AI limiters and plastic, and then we got supercomputers, which are here. And there it is, the high-speed connectors going down. Hence why there's not so many in here. And why there's more in here. Okay. That's my computer factory for now. And I had a bit of fun. And I took some inspiration for me. I took some inspiration for her. And I made this insanity. So, yep. Computer factory. And there's my Caterium coming in. And AI limiters coming in. Stop the autosave. Thank you. And there's my extra rubber and plastic going that away. It's going into my storage bin, which I also will show you in just a second. And this still needs a roof, which is okay because I once again had to think about design. And it's chucking along, which is great. And I had to expand this a bit too. So a nice portion of smelters making ingots, and the ingots then gets turned into wire. And the assemblers here, they are making the AI limiters. That is going that way. And here's our copper sheets that we made in the last episode. Right now I still got the wire just sitting there, not wire, cable. Wire, cable, either way. For now, because they will come in handy later. And that way I don't have to worry about if I got a line up and going, because we do have a line up and going. So, there's a copper factory. I painted it. And still plenty of room if we need to add more constructors if need be. So, all hunky-dory. Now, what else have I been working on? Storage unit. And right now it looks insane because it's not finished, because I need to add another section to it. Hence why the back here is open. But the other sections of it is actually quite finished. And I think it's gonna look pretty gosh dang nice once we get some light up in here. And that is what I want to do to my Northern Forest area as well. Make a computer facility. Yeah, I snuck through there with wires. So everything could have power, you know? Pesky, pesky power. But all nicely done. And still room to add more if need be. That's one section. And then we're gonna have to add another section here. And this is the back side, so you could come in and take products out and bring it down and then out. Which is great. I'm pretty gosh dang happy with how it looks in here. It took me a bit to figure out design and also adding in some design elements and walkways without hitting your head and getting stuck. And I'm gonna add signs all along here with some color on it. And then on here and right next to the pesky little snippets of boxes, there will be signage telling you exactly what's in it, even though you can see it, right? So the mechanics and the belly of the beast is hidden away. Now we can head inside of the belly. Again, me needing to get in and out quickly because I was doing wiring. So here you can make sure that every single thing that goes in here goes in correctly. That's why there's a door to in here. Oh, it's nice and full. Good. That's what we want to see. Does that mean my boxes upstairs are full? That one is full. Good. Overflow system it is. But I'm not going to be working on that right now. But I am going to add in a smart splitter on this line. Right there. Maybe it would help if we turned it the right way, right? So that is going to stay as any. This is going to be none. And this side is going to be the overflow. Because now we need to take that up here. I'll show you why. Let's just get out of here. That side is all taken care of. But when I went over to the power area, this was not an issue yet. It's not an issue. I have taken it into account though. So, look at this. So you can see the lines coming in from here. Yeah, I thought that was quite nice. And looks quite grand. So. And here's the rest of the underbelly. So we need to bring the line from downstairs up here and connect it to here. As you guys can see, that side is connected and goes in and get munched. So it's the same procedure here. And I wanted plenty of space in here in case I needed to add a couple of sneaky manufacturers or assemblers, maybe both. That way I have enough room to add in a couple of machines if need be. Where I can pull stuff from the overflow line if needed. Or get stuff from downstairs, send it up here to use in production if need be. So I wanted plenty of space. And also I wanted a place where I can drive in those tiny little cutesy cars. Let me show you what I mean. In one of those. Because if I drive it in here, once the walls are up, first of all, I'm not going to lose it. Secondly, I'm not going to get stuck. Thirdly, because, yay, fun. And if that ends up being the case, there will be plenty of these things all over the place in here. So, yeah, bit of fun. Fun would be lovely. So that's the underbelly. And the back side of the underbelly. But if we head up into the bleachers, I have set up for overflow on all of them. And those boxes here are empty for now, hence why there's nothing on this line. But that way you can come in here, set up the lines that needs to go to overflow, check your boxes, look down below at the shoppers, yell at them a bit, and then come into the other side, check the other boxes, and once again connect them to overflow because it's already set up. See? Easy access to get to the lines. I'm so pleased with this. It took a while because not only I'd like it to be nice and organized, but I also needed it to be accessible. So you can get to the overflow line, set it up, easy peasy lemon squeezy, and make sure it all gets sent where it needs to go downstairs and into the munchers. Or if you need to pull product from the boxes, let's say we need to get some of the smart plating. Well, then you take the smart splitter here and just plop in one of these, let me find it, conveyor porthole. That way you can send product down easily enough. Of course it's gonna leave me boxes because my inventory is full. Or down here, disconnect one of the lines and take it from there and plop it in. So there's options. If that product is needed elsewhere, right? So not only did I want it to look grand and have a bit of fun with the shape, but I also needed it to be practical so I can pull product if I need to for the things. And I want it to look inviting. And once I get the lights in here, this place is going to be magnificent. So that is something we need to do on the Northern Forest. But my question is, since we're here, so to speak, not in the Northern Forest, would you guys like me to set up a full storage facility and you guys can see how one does it? That's my question. And sometimes it's easier to show what you mean when you say it instead of just asking and people going, what the fuck is she talking about? What does she mean? Storage facility? Blah. So that is what I mean. And I've been working on another facility. It's not finished yet because I wanted to start it up with you guys and also ask a question. How cool is this gonna look with half a pyramid and then fade into a normal structure? I think that is gonna look pretty gosh dang cool. So let's take this from the end, shall we? And then I'll talk about why, how, and where once we get there. Let's just follow the power lines here. So all of that shenanigans came about that I needed crystal. Because I need oscillators, and oscillators needs crystal. There they go. Okay. That's gotta be the drill heads, right? Crystal! Coming through. Okay. And the other side is tagging along. That's good. Good. So we got the crystal coming in. And here we got some copper. You'll see why in just a minute. So this is the next section that is gonna need a tiny bit of power. Already got the power line coming in here. But these constructors needed a tiny bit of power. That's one side. Let's get the other side. And last bit. So, each side gives us 120 crystal, right? Each line. Yeah, you guys are ticking along, but why are you not ticking along? I thought I did set these babies up. Apparently not. There they go. So each side gives us 120 crystal. And we need crushed crystals for oscillators. And out of those 120 crystals, I could get 6 machines making silica. That's just for overflow, just in case. And 4 machines making crushed crystal. So that way, all of the products coming out of the mine, out of the crystal, are getting used. All of it. And that's without overclocking or anything. Okay. So if we follow the crystal somewhat, see, it comes in there, goes up. And it's ready to be connected as well. Don't mind that. It's gonna be fine. And now that is gonna flow all the way to down here. But we need a couple of steps before we can get there. Because once again, I didn't want to have unnecessary conveyor belts all over the freaking place. And I didn't want trains either. So I decided to make everything that would be needed to be produced on site. And the last thing we now need to do, besides power and making sure that they all so why are you being such a pain in the neck? I measured. You're supposed to be working. And we'll do it like that then. And mark one belt, mark one belt, one belt, all the way through. So, yeah, like I said, I decided we're gonna produce everything that is needed for the oscillators at the oscillator site. So, of course, we're gonna start out with crushed crystal, ingots, and then we're going to go to the next step. Guess what the next step is gonna be? No idea? Okay. Plates. Iron plates, one of the basic things that you need when you start out in this game. And they are needed in so many things. So now these are producing the plates. So what else is needed? Screws. Screws are needed. And I got this fantastic screw recipe that takes 5 ingots and turns them directly into screws without having to make iron rods first and then taking the iron rod and turn the iron rod into screws. And the next thing we're gonna need is wire. And normally you would need copper wire, but I also have an alternate recipe for that, which again takes iron ingots and directly turn them into copper wire. I don't know how that works, but it works. So I am not gonna question it. And these are gonna make cable. And my line here is nice and full now. That's good. Good, good, good. That means we can activate one more step. So, these here are gonna make reinforced plates. I don't know why the oscillators need them, but they need them. So, that is exactly what these guys are gonna do. And the screws will keep on coming in here, and the plates, and Bob's your uncle. And out is reinforced plate. Whoop, whoop. Yes. Lastly, but not least, well, is the last step here before I can put a roof on this baby. Have to, yes. We're about to ask it if I have remembered to, but I did. Let's just help it them out a bit. There we go. Are you taking your sweet time, aren't you? There. That's all the cable I got on me. So this is gonna take a bit of time. But then the oscillators would come out here and then travel all the way down to here into this little box. And it's already connected to an output. What do you know? That way I can add them to my circuits over there. But yeah, that's how you make multiple factories to make multiple products in one go. All in one go. And that is going to take some time before it builds up and all is hunky-dory. But I'm not worried about it. I actually calculated everything, which I'm quite proud of. Did the math. Don't kill me. I did. Did the math. Heretic. You did mathematics. But yes. And I'm not gonna need a shit ton of oscillators, by the way, yet. So, the fact that the machines are gonna take a bit is all fine by me. As long as they are making the products and nothing is standing still for too long, and I don't have to flush the system out because of rubber in the corks. So, I think it's gonna look sick once I'm finished with doing the pyramid theme here. And then combining it with the look of our crystal crushing facility down there. Yep, and it's gonna be a statement piece here. But yeah. So, let me know if you guys want to see me make an entire storage facility. And we're gonna do it in stages because I'm not gonna bore you guys to death. But it's gonna be a tiny bit repetitive. There's the word. Word of the day. It's gonna be repetitive a bit because there's gonna be a lot of conveyor belting and a lot of boxes and yelling. There's most definitely gonna be yelling of some sort. Hopefully not too loud though, because I don't want to blow anybody's ears out. But like I said, that is all for today. And it's taking long, and I'm not mad at it. Weapons down. There we go. So yeah, please do let me know down below. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share. Bob's your uncle. No, wait a minute. Bob is my uncle. It really does help. Thank you. Bye, 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 bye. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. I managed to hit the right button. What the freak aside is going on here?